Our final guest this evening is a freelance writer and performer living in Albany Park. She's the creator of Chirp Radio's story series The First Time and hopes to get a one-woman show on the books by the end of the year. She's performed at a variety of places, including Listen to Your Mother, Resilient, and We Have Questions. You can currently find her at 3leftproductions.com and all over the web at Smussy Olay. Please welcome Jocelyn Geboy.
She said Smussy Olay and Geboy right. I'm so pleased. And just for everybody, Andrew was taken. Rosacea Awareness Month. No haiku tonight. I'm such a fan of the haiku that I could not do that. The Book of Lamentations, hashtag 2019. Chapter 1, verse 1. Woe is me. Why must I be punished for using cash? Cashiers, is there an organized movement? Why do you feel compelled to hand me my change like it is a pizza with toppings? Bills on the bottom, change and receipt resting precariously on top? The probability that the coins will haplessly slide off the bills is so high, higher than the amount of times I actually carry cash. What is it that you fear, cashiers? Are you worried that you might catch some heinous cooties from my open hand? Let me edify you, Walgreens woman. For as dirty as you fear my hands are, touching poles on the CTA, having a cold, wiping my ass, you neglect to realize that the money you put between us as a prophylactic is in fact far dirtier than my hand could ever be. Verse 2. You are sadly mistaken if you think you are protecting yourself from your potential contamination. Found in stripper ass crack, filling in as cocaine straw, held safe at Great America by a bra in the sweatiest of summers, casino tables, countless grimy floors, hand over hand at the bank. These are just a smattering of the dirty, dank places these bills and coins have been. Verse 3. Making a bill coin platter is ridiculous and sometimes reckless. You can easily drop the coins into my hand without touching it. It's not easy to open my door at a drive-thru to pick up the coins that have splayed out on the concrete. And while you casually remark that, it's just a penny, ma'am, while I know that is probably the correct attitude to take, your technique is wrong, all wrong, and I won't be swayed otherwise. Chapter 2, verse 1. And now, in the midst of the basement, I remember happy bygone days. I think of all the good times I had, playing Tetris, creating visions of blocks floating and turning as I found sweet slumber, a cool respite from a hot summer afternoon, nights of holiday and merriment with friends and family. Growing up in this small Wisconsin town, I was constantly reminded about all the ways I should not waste. My grandma lived through the Depression and passed down frugality of the highest order to my father. Reprimanded for a shower when the pump went off more than once. Heat was kept to a minimum. There were repeated exhortations to put more clothes on if I was cold. Eat all that was given to me. But the most oft-repeated phrase was, "Why is this light on?" Or, "Turn these lights off." Well into his old age, my father was known to sit in the living room with a lamp on an end table for light. I was always so confused why it had to be like this. My family could afford a bright light or two. Verse 2. So it was a complete shock when I was in the basement with some friends as an adult years later when I noticed the fluorescent light in the basement on and flipped the switch to turn it off as I went upstairs, only to hear the shrieks and cries of my parents. "What are you doing? Why did you turn that off?" And my mother's woeful cry, "You've ruined the internet!" I could not fathom what in the most fiery of hells they were talking about. Why wouldn't I turn a light off in the house of pseudo-darkness? I ruined the internet? What the fuck? Verse 3. It so happened that when the cableman had been out last time, he had inferred that the cable box needed more power. And thus, he had rigged something up so that the power would be taken from the light in the basement, which was now to permanently stay on. Which was the weirdest, most insane thing I could think of. Asterisk. Not to mention the fact that there was no note, there was no indication that I should have done what had been beseeched of me repeatedly in years past. Turn off the lights. The friends that accompanied me had nothing to say. They were silently complicit in my parents' lunacy. I was left to bemusedly turn the light on and ensure my mother that I had absolutely not ruined the internet. The modem would reboot and all would be well. Verse 4. Asterisk. cable man advice was recently eclipsed by someone telling my roommate that the strength of the Wi-Fi might be diminished by water and mirrors. Needless to say, I felt like I had entered the realm of an Insane Clown Posse song because there was virtually nothing about that made sense, especially given that the room previously held a glass of water on the table and a mirror leaning up against the side of the room that had been there for months. It seems that water and mirrors can affect Wi-Fi. If there is a swimming pool or a fish tank, if a wall has been covered in mirrors, the wisdom of the cable oracle is suspect, to be sure. Chapter 3, verse 1. My Facebook has plundered me completely, taking everything precious I own. We have seen foreign nations violate our sacred country, foreigners we had forbidden even to enter. But the greatest sin is the way you listened to me, denying you had ever done it. Many people have suggested this cannot be possible. You have Googled, but lo, I have not. Recent articles have proffered, we know you better than you do yourself. No, you do not. How am I so certain, Facebook? Let me take you back to earlier times. Verse 2. It is the fall of 2015. Asterisk. The Cubs are in the playoffs, and I'm at my friend Gary's house watching the game with several friends. At some point, we start to discuss other sports or bandwagon jumpers. I admit that I was, in fact, an initial bandwagoneer for the second Bulls three-peat. I do declare that once I get on a wagon, though, I get on and settle in. I talk about my love of players outside of Jordan, Pimpin, and Rodman. I discuss the copious cheers of Luke for one Luke Longley. I talk about how much I love Steve Kerr. But one of my favorite players eludes me. I cannot recall his name, Facebook. I instead say, you know, he was the Croatian who smoked cigs a lot. My friends are no help. No one offers a hint or a clue of who this person may have been. At this juncture, my phone happens to be on the coffee table a few yards away. In a truly miraculous turn of events, I do not immediately walk over to my phone and Google Bulls Croatian cigarettes. I also don't think of it again. Verse 3. Until I open your portal the next day, Zuckerberg. In your constant offerings of people I may know, you have put a name on a silver platter and handed it to me. According to you, I may know a one Tony Kukoc who resides in Highland Park. At first glimpse, I find that interest. Wait a minute, that's it. That's the Croatian who smoked a lot, Tony Kukoc. It seems highly improbable that your algorithms would randomly produce this connection to me now, after years of being on Facebook together, after having 3 friends already in common who I've also had for years. How else would you do this sorcery? You are, in fact, listening, and I am, in fact, bound to you for information and connection with people I wouldn't know or communicate with otherwise. I stay, being a pawn in a very foolish game. But let it be known, Facebook, you cannot show your hand and then tell me I don't know what cards you're holding. I do, Facebook. I do. Verse 4, asterisk. I know it was the fall of 2015 because we didn't win the World Series that year, but we did win the series the next year. We'd waited decades upon decades and fought long and hard and earnestly against those Indians of Cleveland. Emerging victorious on a Wednesday night, I was thrilled to find that afterward, I had an experience which was much like when my father died, but only positive. In the days and weeks after my father died, I would occasionally think, man, my dad is dead. That's weird. It feels like it almost can't be true. It's true though, right? And in the days after the World Series, I would be somewhere doing something and be roundly struck with the knowledge that we had won the World Series. It seemed implausible, but it was true. My long and loud lamentation is this: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days. 5 whole fucking days before the thought haunting me was, how did this happen? How did our country fall into the hands of a madman? We didn't even get a week to celebrate. What a shame. Chapter 4, verse 1. Is it nothing to you, all you social drinkers? Look and see if there's any sorrow like my sorrow because of all half-drunk glasses you leave behind at weddings and parties in the world. How is it that you have no concern about your beverage declining a refill because I'm starting to feel it? Yes, that is the point, to feel it. Even when you have paid for the drink at hand, you will often still leave without completion, glibly walking away with a flip of a hand. Verse 2. And what of it, you moderate of moderates? This way of thinking is faulty to me. Leaving behind good drinks to flounder in the wide open is like buying a cart full of groceries, checking out, taking half to the car, and bringing the cart back to the store. When the manager inquires about taking the rest of your groceries, you shake your head explaining, I work tomorrow, or I need to drive. I would not let these things deter me, for lo, I am an alcoholic. Chapter 5, verse 1. I sob through the night. Tears run down my cheeks. Why is the Binny's logo comprised of a martini glass with bubbles? A champagne flute would have bubbles, but not a martini glass. A martini glass would be sans bubbles. You have fine wines, humidors, and cheeses, Binny's. Why would you conflate these two drinking vessels? Why would you vex me so? Verse 2. Yet, the crafty beaver goes on to pierce my soul. Your stores bear the vision of a robust woodland creature wearing overalls and brandishing a hammer. Naturally, this is a crafty beaver out to build a world of lumber and drywall. But you have handicapped this beaver in your rendering. Buck teeth he proudly displays, but he lacks a key component of beavering, a tail. Crafty beaver, we know that there are two concepts that would rank first and second in a survey presented to us by Steve Harvey. We asked 100 men and women, what do you think of when you think of a beaver? The second would be those teeth. But firstly, CB, the beaver's tail. Verse 3. I know you might remark, you can't see his tail because he's wearing overalls. But that is the problem, Crafty. You see, it's a cartoon creation. There's no valid reason why this imagined beaver wouldn't naturally have overalls with a hole cut out for his tail. Don't handicap this beaver. As much as his skills are enhanced by said hammer, his lifestyle is greatly encumbered without a tail. Woe is the crafty beaver. Chapter 6, verse 1. These are my lamentations 2019. Long I have carried them. I give them to you now. See, 2019, my anguish. My heart is broken and my soul despairs. In the streets, foolish Lyft drivers with janky GPS await me. Hear my groans. And is there no one anywhere to help? No matter day or time, my mother starts every conversation with, where are you? Even though she hasn't a clue about any potential location I give anyway. If she wants to know if I'm busy or home, all she needs to do is ask. All my email subscriptions have heard my troubles, yet they tell me it will be 10 days to unsubscribe me. And yet, oh Lord, the time will surely come when Sanrio will stop insisting that Hello Kitty is not a cat, but a British girl. Amen, amen. Let it be written, then so it shall be.